Okay, so here's my idea for my YouTube channel. A YouTube channel. Because I really think YouTube needs more amateurs. Just putting earnest shit out there for people to see other people being earnest instead of all this fucking corporate, algorithmic, for-profit, subscribe to my Patreon shit that dominates the platform currently. So my idea is I've spent the last almost year getting stoned and going for walks with my imaginary friend Lyutens, my mentor, my job coach in becoming a paladin of the Frunswachten ministry. And this dude is really alive in my head. It's not like a split personality, dissociative identity disorder. It's not that kind of situation. It is, I have imagined a person, and that person is just so good and so inspiring that I invested a lot of mental resources in building him up and exploring his hypothetical emotional and intellectual life. I have made a project for the last year or so of really empathizing with this imaginary person that I made up, because I feel like if I can understand him, I can be more like him. I can help bring him out of my head and into the real world, where he could do so much good for so many people, because that's just who he is. And I want to be just like that guy. And I've had all these revelations over the last year or so about like things that are obvious to him, like wearing your armor unbuckled, because that's less threatening. Because if people see you coming and you're buckled up, armored, they might think, what the fuck is about to happen? Is there danger? Is this person a threat? No, I'm not here to pose a threat to anybody. This is just in case something bad comes up, so that I am a little more prepared to try and help with any situation that might need help. I should really carry a toolkit and a first aid kit everywhere now, but some strength training, I guess. Get the pack on. But the armor is just about helping to cultivate the courage to step into a situation where people might feel threatened, and to do so with less fear, so that you can focus on the goodwill towards everybody. So that's why I call this yes, it's body armor, but it's also my security blanket, and it's a listening aid, and it's social lubricant, and it's my clown uniform. This is what I call it now, my clown uniform, because Lyutens' job is kind of to be a clown too, to tell the truth without fear of punishment, to entertain and delight people so that they will be willing to let him help. And that's all I want to do, man. I want that job. So what I thought I would do with my YouTube platform would be to televise, document some walks with Lyutens, maybe a question every time for him to answer for people about his way of being, thinking, feeling, living, where he comes from, because his community that I imagined for him is so important to that, and something else that I would really like to help usher into the real world. Not everything about it, because while in that world magic is a metaphor for technology, they also have starting conditions that we don't, and therefore some of their adaptations would not be relevant to us in the real world. But I do believe in more free-form family formation, instead of the, capitalist nuclear family being forced on everybody. So yes, in this first installment, I would like to introduce you all to my friend Lyutens. Hey Lyutens, hello! I'm not going to do that the whole time. That would be weird and silly. And I don't mind looking a little weird and silly, but no, that would be. So, and I could do the voice, because he has a voice. I could do that to speak as him, but I don't know. Maybe I'll try it out and see how it goes. So, first question, and I'm going to pose this today. And if anyone sees this and likes the concept and wants to send in a question for Lyutens that I can ask him and he can answer on video for y'all, then that is where I will start drawing future questions from. So, first question, Lyutens. What is your job like? To which Lyutens would say, well, I have the best job in the world. I have the most amazing job, and it's all that I ever could have wanted to do as a little boy who loved to ask questions and make friends and talk to people. My elders, my community, they saw that in me, and they said, that is this boy's job. Let's put him to work. And they invested everything that I needed. They gave me the training, they gave me the resources, the tools to become, as a worker, someone who goes around and asks questions and makes friends and talks to people and helps everybody that I meet that might need any help, because how else are you going to live? What else is there to do? So I look around. Oh, here comes the voice. I look around at your society, at the closest thing you have, I think, to what I am back home. I look at your police, your cops, and that seems very limited to me. It seems like a very narrow portfolio, very unhappy kind of role in the society, because I've heard about their training. Their training creates an adversarial us versus the wolves, and anyone could be a wolf. You have to scrutinize and be suspicious of everybody. It's a gang. It's a gang mentality that your society arms for some reason and sends out to protect, supposedly to serve and protect the people, but from observation, I think it is clear that most of what they end up protecting is property, ownership, and the people that they end up serving are mostly the property to owners. Back home, it is not like this. My job back home as a guardian is to serve everyone I meet as a friend, however I can, whatever they need. So, for your police here to become like our guardians there, they would first have to go back to school. And many of them would be found unsuitable. I know this. I know this. Just don't give up on anybody. Don't give up on anybody. There's hope. Where there's life, there's hope. Okay, some would not be able to transition. Some would need more calming work for probably the rest of their lives, and they would probably not be able to adapt in time to become guardians again. Those who could would have to go back and receive new education, new training, to regard people in their community properly. To start from the basic assumption, the basic knowledge, acceptance of the fact that people are mostly good. People are mostly good. It is how we survive as a society, by people being mostly good. The problems that we have are not due to a lack of policing people's baser instincts. The problems that we have mostly arise here because of how resources are distributed, allocated by the ruling class who owns them, who are clearly sociopaths, and definitely need re-education. At the very least, need to be removed from the levers of power, because they are fucking it all up for everybody. People are starving. People are homeless. Yet there is food on grocery store shelves, and there are houses sitting empty. This is deranged. Back home, if I go out for a walk, and this is how many of my days start. I go for a walk, and I am either delivering something, or I'm picking something up. But if I'm not delivering something or picking something up, I'm just out for a walk in my community, on the trails between homesteads and around homesteads, and into the centers where those who have not yet gone out to the homesteads, where they continue to live comfortably. And I go out, and if I see somebody, I take a moment and I think of something that makes me very happy. I usually think of my mother. Think of my mother's love. Or I think of a really funny joke, something that will make it easy to smile, so that I can smile to them, and I can try to make eye contact. Back home, eye contact, everyone. It is obvious, it is easy. Here, it is not so much, because I don't think some people like that. It is insane to me. Anyway, I look them in the eye, and then I look down, I nod, bow my head a little bit. I look at their shoes. Their shoes, their boots. Hopefully not, well, maybe back home their bare feet, if they're on one of the sandy trails. But I look at their feet to see if their shoes are in good repair, or if their shoes might indicate that they are struggling somehow. Because if someone cannot afford good shoes, well, what is going on with them? How can they not afford good shoes? So I look at their footwear. And I should really learn to cobble, or I should learn shoe repair, so that then I would have to carry around a cobbler's toolkit too. Damn. But I look so that if I see that they could use some help with their feet, I can ask if they need a reference to someone who can fix their shoes. Or, if I were back home, I could ask if they want to go get a better pair of shoes or boots or whatever. And I am empowered back home to go with them to a homestead that makes shoes and has a surplus of shoes made out of pride in their work, or as an exploration of the theme. And I can say, hey, this is my friend, maybe my new friend, and his shoes are falling apart. He needs some footwear. we are friends, so they will give me a pair of shoes for him. They will give him a pair of shoes because I have made an introduction, right? If I went out and, goddess forbid, if I were out at home and I found someone who had no home, theirs had burned down, or they had had a terrible, tragic falling out with their entire family, their entire homestead, and they were out and they had not yet found a friend to go to, then I would be empowered back home to take them by the hand and find them a home. I mean, back home, the common areas have apartments that end up vacant as people go out to the homesteads and build up the homesteads. First, I would look for a homestead where they might be happy, where they might gel well with the family and the church there. And I might see if there's a place for them there. And if there's not, then I would take them to the commons, and I can give them proper custody of an apartment for them to get settled in, for them to live in, for as long as they need. And there's no rent. There's no rent on these. No one is collecting any profits off of them. They have been built. The people who built them are rewarded with a home and food and everything they need themselves. They do not continue parasitically, vampirically, to leech off of anyone else living there. That is deranged. I don't know why you people tolerate that. Anyway, if I found someone whose bicycle had broken down, I could help them either to fix it or to carry it to someone who can fix it, or I can just walk with them until they get where they're going. If I find a fire, well, everyone back home is trained as firefighters. It's no matter your ministry, you are trained in fighting fires, because everyone should know how to contribute to fighting a fire. This is obvious. But if I am the first one there, then I can start fighting a fire and I can call for help. If I find someone sick, if I find someone injured, I help them. If I can heal them with a spell or with a bandage, then I help them. So for your police in this place, this awful place that you continue to tolerate its mismanagement, for them to become like us back home, they would have to be a social worker. They would have to be trained first as a social worker. And then, I mean, they would have their firefighting training from childhood. Everyone back home is a firefighter. So a firefighter, a social worker. Sounds like I'm starting a joke. They are social workers and they are firefighters. And where's that bench that damn. And tow truck drivers and field surgeons, or at least emergency medical technicians, paramedics, and we're mechanics, and we are handymen, and we are, what do you call them here? Mavens? We are mavens. We know where you can find anything. If we do not have it ourselves, if we are not carrying it ourselves, we cultivate, just as part of the job, we cultivate a vast, capable social network. So if I cannot fix your bicycle, I know who can. If I cannot treat the illness that I find you with. I know someone who can. Let's go to their place. This is my job back home, is to just be willing to go out into my community and be everyone's friend, to help everyone I see as a friend. And if they don't need any help, just to chat with them, to get to know them better, to cultivate our relationship so that the next time I see them, they will know that is Lyutens, that is a good guy who I can trust, who I can call on, who will help me. This is the best job in the world. And in return for doing this, and I am given so much trust by my community to do this. You would call it authority. I am invested with so much authority to help. Okay, authority. But what you really need is trust and resources. You need the community to trust you to do these things for them without any suspicion that you are trying to manipulate them, that you are... This is why to be ordained as a guardian, you have to have never been sent home for lying. Only the people who have never been caught in a lie, because they've never told a lie. You have to learn to communicate much more effectively than that. You have to learn how to tell the truth. And if it is an unhappy truth, if it is a sad truth, if it is an ugly truth, you have to learn how to tell it in a way that is still loving and friendly and kind. As kind as you can be. Because you do not want to sow ill feelings, discord, division. That is not the job of a guardian. The job of a guardian is to cultivate connection with and within the whole community. To be willing to help everybody as their friend. And to turn any stranger that you meet, to work on turning any stranger that you meet into a friend. What could be a better job than this? I mean, some people prefer to work with the heritables in plants or animals. Some people prefer to just stay home and take care of a home. Make it the best home that they possibly can. And these are blessed jobs as well. These are so important. We have so much respect and honor for those who do these beneficial jobs for everybody. But my favorite is the guardians. I don't know plants or animals quite well enough. I'm not organized. I'm not quite fastidious enough to keep a home. And if I were not a guardian, I think I would like to be a scholar, but I don't know what I would specialize in. Maybe social theory, because we have those. We have social theorists as scholars back home. And our scholars are also our artists, mostly. Anyone can do art, but specialization in art back home is considered a scholarly affair. So most of our artists are scholars. I think I could be happy as a scholar too, like my mother. But I'm happiest as a guardian, like my father. And he taught me everything he knows, and his friends, and my uncles and aunts, and grandparents. They all taught me everything they know. Everything they knew that I could use. And they knew where to invest their time and where it might not have been a good investment. We understand the concept of investing. It's just not with, like you do, with just money, coins, shit, in the hope of some return, some inflated return on your investment later. No, this is straying into derangement. This is catering to the monsters in your belly. We invest by simply giving what is needed to make someone else successful so that they can succeed, so that whatever they are successful in, they can contribute back to the rest of society, so that they can in turn invest in others. We don't invest to get something back. We invest to propagate going forward. This is obvious. Back home. So my job is social worker and firefighter and mechanic and medic and maven. And as for the physical defense, protection, I can scarcely bring myself to call it that, the violence. Your society has this idea that the law enforcement, the police, the cops, have a monopoly on violence, on force. Back home, we don't want anyone to have a monopoly, a stake in that. Why? Why would you want? But we acknowledge the unhappy natural truth that sometimes people are out of their minds. Sometimes people are out of their minds. One of their demons in their belly has gotten a little too powerful and is reaching up and fiddling, clawing at their brain and making them act out in ways that they would not ever normally, if they were happy, if they felt safe and secure. So sometimes people are a little out of their minds and they might become violent, and how we respond to this is with a shield. We all carry a shield. Hardly ever need to use it. It is largely for like just strength training, conditioning, building up your arms so that you can lift heavy things. But we carry a shield, and we have armor. We have armor, but we walk around with it, as you can see, as Ken has learned, unbuckled, unless something comes up, or we need to buckle it up and protect ourselves. Ken can only be attacked from the right. So we walk around with our unbuckled armor and our shield. And the shield is so that if someone out of their mind and full of this crazed energy, this lashing out, this thing that needs to come out of them, well, we can put our shield up and they can slap and punch and claw at the shield and wear themselves out, tire themselves, exhaust themselves, get this thing out of their system. And then when they are tired and calm down a bit, maybe they're sitting or laying on the ground, catching their breath, then we can say, so would you like to talk about it? How can I help you? What is going on? What is wrong that you've felt the need to act out that way? What can we do to help you? So that is why we carry a shield, is to simply to protect ourselves and others from people when they are not in their right mind, until we can get them back into their right mind. But beating someone down with a weapon and throwing them in a cage and maybe leaving them there for years, this is an obscenity. The system that you have here, I see it, it is an obscenity. It breaks my heart. Every day I walk around here looking at your culture, your society. I'm brokenhearted. But I am not morose. I'm not wallowing in sadness or letting it ferment. This is Ken again. I couldn't do the Lyutens job. For a long time, for most of my life, I was not qualified because in my adult life, I have been much too afraid of people to take that approach to them, and I've been much too angry, and my anger was, still is, largely, mostly, mispurposed sadness or fear. Much more sadness, though. I get sad about something, I get angry about something, or I get sad about something, and my sense of powerlessness at not being able to do anything about it, at not being able to help people with their problems when I see people with problems. That sadness becomes anger. That sadness becomes a lot of fucking anger. I look around and I see things that are being done wrong, badly, that hurt people. I'm furious. Furious all the time. But it's because of how sad I am and how helpless I feel. Yo, give me a ticket book. Give me a ticket book where I can write someone a ticket that gives them a house. Give me a ticket book that they can take their broken bicycle to a repair shop and trade that ticket for a bike repair. Give me a ticket book so I can write someone who's hungry a ticket that they take to the grocery store, and the grocery store takes that ticket and lets them leave with whatever food they need. Give me a fucking ticket book, man. And in this fucking society, this depraved, just morally vacuous, sociopath-run society, give me a ticket book so that if someone is being renovicted or is being priced out of their apartment by a greedy landlord raising the rent, I can take my ticket book to the landlord and say, hey, cut that shit out. You're not raising their rent because they can't afford that. And if you raise their rent anyway, I'm writing you a ticket, and, well, in Great Bounty, they don't lock up people for being landlords because they don't have landlords. And if we were to bring a little bit of that here, I think your guardians would be able to write landlords, those who have not yet made their property, who have not yet converted their property for its proper use as housing, not as an investment vehicle for extracting profit from other people's work. Look, landlords, it's easy. Do you have a house already? You get to keep living there. You just don't get to keep hoarding, scalping all of this surplus housing that you are currently making a living off of. Now, if you want to help maintain other people's housing, if you want to be a repairman, superintendent, manager, then great. You get the same comfortable livelihood as everyone else. A home, a bus pass, a meal card, a grocery card, vacation, dignity in your work. You get the full package. But you don't get to leech off of dozens or hundreds of other people to grow fat and get a great, big, beautiful mansion type house for yourself. No, that shit don't fly in Great Bounty and shouldn't here. And so landlords, you can make it real easy on yourselves. Just turn your inventory, your stockpile, your hoard, turn it into co-ops where all of the people who actually live there share the stake in ownership of the thing. If we're still going to obsess over ownership over things, let the people who live there own it, and if you want to manage it for them, great. You get at least as much as they're getting, but they also get at least as much as you're getting for doing your job, because there's dignity in all work that serves others, that betters the community. As long as your job is serving others, benefiting the community, you get the full, dignified, human worker package. And so, yeah, settle down. I'm not coming for your carrion. Yeah, part of me would still love to be a policeman, but not the kind of policeman that we have here. We don't have the kind of policeman here that I want to be. We would need to dismantle and reconstitute the whole fucking department, and the training would be completely different. The training would be unrecognizable. Social work first. And if you get good enough at that, then we can probably use you as a guardian. And now let's start training you in all the other practical material skills that people might need. But you can also be just a social worker guardian. You can be incompetent with a toolkit. You can get lightheaded at the sight of blood. You can be not particularly competent in a lot of things, but to be a guardian in Great Bounty and the kind of cop that I want to be in the real world, your primary, strongest skill set has to be socializing with people. And I'm still, because I was withdrawn from people for a long time. I was afraid of people. I was scared and frustrated and pissed off at people. And I'm trying to get over that now. It takes a lot of mindful cultivation of compassion. Trying to really get in there and understand and accept, finally, at long last, that people are good, like you. You're a good person. You want to be a good person. Unless you're a fucking sociopath. who might just tell yourself that you want to be a good person, but you don't actually care about anybody else. A good person exists in relation to other people. If there are no other people around, you're not a good person or a bad person. You're just a fucking person living like an animal. But good people emerge in, not even in contradistinction, but in relation to other people. And if you want to do what they do back home, then your primary skill set needs to be in not being afraid of people, not being pissed off all the time, not obsessing over your frustration at how fucking helpless, how powerless you are to do what you wish you could do for other people. That needs to be there. It needs to be tamed. It needs to be, in this fucking world anyway, until we can get to the one where I can actually go around with a ticket book, helping everybody however they need it. Until then, I need to cultivate my socializing skills. And goddamn, does weed ever help with that? But I'm getting better. I'm getting better at doing it without weed too. It's getting easier with practice. Weed just, the comradely herb, comradely foliage has helped a lot with sort of temporarily lowering the firewalls, lowering my guard so that I can talk to strangers and find out that, yeah, they're also good people. You're good people. You want to be good people. And I want to meet other good people. I want to make friends with every good person that I can meet. And, well, if we start talking and find that we have a strong disagreement on something, then it might take a lot of work for us to become friends. But we respect work. We respect work. Back home. Here, you respect money. You respect profits. You respect status based on money. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Your status should be determined, should be based on how much people respect your work and how much people love you. How many people are eager to help you because they know that you will help them every chance you get. This is the job of a guardian, and this is not like your police work here. Manifestly not the same. Ken would like to become a guardian, not so much a police officer. So this is the purpose. This is the purpose of the much talked about revolution. Is we want to seize the means. That includes taking over the department, reallocating its resources to get some actual fucking real, honest to goodness guardians in this outfit and equip them with their shields after they receive all of the necessary training, after we have had a panel of guardians vet them and screen them and welcome them into their ministry. When at least 5 of your would-be future coworkers say, yes, I believe this person will do a good job with us and is open to continuing to train under us, because the learning never stops. The training never ends. Yeah, man, I can envision I don't got looks and I don't got money, but I've got a hell of an imagination because, man, I can picture so much better than this. Isn't it easy? Isn't it easy to envision so much fucking better than this? Isn't everyone going around doing that all the time? Aren't you people desperate for hope? Well, what is hope? What does hope look like to you?
Yeah, there.
What do you want to do with power if you had it? Don't you want to help people? Don't you want to help him? Don't you want to help him? Don't you? Of course I want to help him. Of course I want to help people who I see in distress, who I see in need. And most of the anger, most of the fermented caught fire sadness that comes out as anger in my life, it's mostly from a material inability to solve the problems or to correct the injustices that I see all around me. It's been driving me nuts. It's been driving me nuts for a long time, largely because I was afraid of people and afraid of doing the socializing that I think is required to become good at the rest of that job. But now I want that job, and so I'm working on the core skill set, the fundamental training that is necessary to be a good guardian. I'm in it now, man. I am a mentee. I am a clerical understudy for my imaginary friend who is the best guy you could ever hope to meet. I mean, you'd be a lot happier to see him coming than me until I get better at his job. And then maybe someday people will be as happy to see me coming as they would be him. And it's a beautiful course of education. It's a beautiful regime that I can go to and imagine in my sleep while the people running the world are just keeping us in this death spiral, man. It's embarrassing. Isn't everyone else embarrassed by how we continue to allow ourselves to be fucking ruled by these imbeciles, by these greedy, dumb assholes who are just getting fat on setting the world on fire and making everyone else miserable? This is our leadership? Ask yourself a couple of questions. One, do I feel that there is a ruling class? Come on, look around. Look around. There is obviously a ruling class in this society. It's undeniable. Second question to ask yourself. Do we live in a democracy? Do we live in a democracy? Of course, you're expected to say yes. Of course we live in a democracy. 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 Okay. Then how the fuck did we end up with a ruling class? Because did you vote for a ruling class? I know I sure as shit didn't the last time. Who's out here voting for a ruling class? Unless they snuck their way into control of the ballot and made sure that only ruling class motherfuckers were put on the ballot for you to vote for. But then that sounds like the process, the electoral democratic process, is not actually very fucking democratic. It sounds like we need more people in there involved. Participating to make sure that the system is fair. It's almost like we need a party of everybody, or at least of the vast majority of actual good, hardworking, non-sociopathic people.
So I came out one day.
And we don't exclude those who can't work because of some as yet uncompensated for, or as yet unaccommodated physical disability. We want to find a way for everyone to take part, to contribute, to give back. But for some people, we might not yet have figured out the aids that they need to do what they would like to do. So until we figure that out, we got to help them. We have to believe in their dignity too. Give them the full fucking package. Give everybody the full fucking package. As long as they're trying. Are you trying? I'm trying. Shit, I should have done a thing where I like flipped the camera when I was channeling Lyutens. He could have been upside down. Maybe next time. The problem is there's like a flow, so sometimes I just step off the bus in front of him, and sometimes he steps off the bus in front of me, and we're not sure exactly how it's going to work out until it happens. It's not a dissociative identity thing. It's not a split personality. It's envisioning a version of yourself that you want to grow into, and acknowledging that you're not quite there yet. So maintaining a relationship with the ideal instead of just pretending that, oh, I am already the ideal because I say so, because I'm trying. It doesn't quite work like that, boyo. At least not to me. I believe in narrative and character too much. I'm too romantic. Holy shit, I've been recording for almost an hour. So this is episode 1. This is perhaps what you can expect if I keep doing this, if I maintain a YouTube channel. But I'm never gonna fucking ask you to subscribe and hit that bell, and I'm never gonna ask for money. This is not meant to be a profitable venture for me. Look, I do not love my job, but I'm not looking to become a professional fucking YouTuber. Maybe after the revolution. Maybe after the revolution, I would feel that the compensation, the full package afforded to YouTubers was appropriate. Because if they're doing work that other people value, then we respect that. But right now, the way you've got this fucking predatory ecosystem of like super successful, goddamn, my God, grow up. The way you have these people who become huge, fantastic successes, and then you have, again, 99% of the working class YouTubers struggling to stay afloat, asking for money on fucking Patreon so that their kids don't starve. It's gotten into everything. This sick profit motive, fucking capitalism, has wormed its way in, has infiltrated, has infested fucking everything. So that's why we need to fucking start weeding. We need to pull out the tendrils of empowered greed that have infested the garden, man. We just gotta pull those out and let people work for themselves, for the sake of contributing as an expression of their dignity and what they want to do and how they want to change the world. Let's just give everyone a fucking chance to do that. Let's unshackle people from these grinding, miserable fucking jobs that they only keep to keep a roof over their head and to keep themselves fed, and how well is that even going, and to not die starving and homeless on the streets. And otherwise, they're just constantly looking. They're constantly looking for something better. My God, anything better than this. If you're doing a job search and you are looking with confidence for the position that you want to do, well, this might be hard to hear, but you are enjoying a privilege. You're enjoying a privilege looking for a job that way, because a lot of people are out here looking for jobs where they're just desperate for anything better than what they're doing now. Something that pays a little bit better, something that has hours that are a little less destructive to their health, a little less obnoxious. There's a lot of people out here just looking for a fucking dental plan, man. And they would continue to subject themselves to a misery that they're experiencing now if you could just add a fucking dental plan. Everyone is dignified. But that is not a job labor environment that is acknowledging and honoring people's dignity. That is a regime that's just fucking working people to the bone. If they squeal, if they scream, who cares, as long as the boss keeps making money and getting a job. Why do we continue to tolerate this? I know I'm not voting for it anymore. Are you? How did you vote last time? For some kind of actual fucking paradigmatic change? Or did you just switch from red to blue? Did you just switch from red to orange? Did you just switch from green to red? Never forgiving that, Jenica. Never. I thought I campaigned for someone because they were not because they were not a liberal, but because they were green, and I thought that was different. I thought that was something fundamentally different, that a green MP who we campaigned for and elected, I thought it would be different, fundamentally. And then she was able to jump ship to the Liberals, and what? So what is the difference between a Green and a Liberal then? Really, what is the fucking difference? Well, I can tell you what the difference is between a Green or a Liberal or a Conservative or a Dipper and a Communist. I can tell you what the difference is there. They all still believe in capitalism, and we're kind of over it. Hence my desire to train for a new job, because I'm hoping that in the new world that we aspire to build after seizing the means, I would like to be a guardian, just going around and working on maximally opening up my heart to people, to cultivating relationships the way gardener cultivates food and herbs and medicine. Like, I want to grow shit, man. I just want it to be connections between people and fucking goodwill, and, you know, let's get rid of this fucking nonsense we're doing now and give me a fucking ticket book. Because me with a ticket book, man. Me with a ticket book, in this regime, this system, the nonsense that I would get into, ticketing landlords, ticketing pay managers, ticketing the owner of the grocery store for their violence against the person who they caught shoplifting and called the cops. It's like, what do you want me to do? You were trying to starve this person. You're hoarding a bunch of food, and you would have preferred that I come and brutalize them than that they get to just walk out with what they need. What's wrong with you? I'm writing you a ticket. The ticket is the cost of their groceries, which you will give to me, which I will give to them, which they will give to you. Now we're all fucking even. And all you need to be able to do to start is to fucking envision it.